This movie introduces us to a college student named James, who almost oversleeps for his philosophy class and quickly runs down the road, hoping not to be late. The student enters the classroom, and we learn that the group is discussing various mental experiments with the instructor. One of them is a discussion about a monkey that has unlimited time and will be able to randomly type Hamlet word for word, or about the difficulty of choosing in the experiment of saving the girl on the tower, or the difficulty of choosing in the experiment of saving people in front of a streetcar. This group is finishing their college education, and the philosophy professor, Mr. Zimmett, offers the students a mental experiment as a final exam. The professor takes the box and goes to the table, announcing the conditions of the experiment. According to the rules, the students can only use logic and must choose which of them will be worthy of getting a place in the underground bunker, the only place on Earth where they can escape the approaching nuclear catastrophe. This bunker is designed for 10 people, but there are only 21 people in the experiment, 20 students and 1 teacher. So, if you can solve the problem with a place to sleep and food, you can't do anything about the oxygen, because the equipment is designed for 10 people. Looking at the mushrooms from the explosions, the group must decide who is worthy to live and who must die. Also, according to the terms of the experiment, each student has unique skills and no less unique problems. Our students take turns pulling leaves with professions written on them out of the box. While the professions are being handed out, the professor coughs several times and covers the box. And so the first mental experiment takes our students to Prambanan. Each student names the profession he or she has obtained. At this point, the instructor eliminates from the group a poet who has no place in a dying world. Eventually, through voting, they select a farmer, a civil engineer, an electrician, a doctor, a senator, a soldier, a psychotherapist, a carpenter, and a chemist. The professor says he will reveal his specialty later. The students choose Mr. Zimmett for the last remaining spot in the bunker, counting on the fact that his skills will surely be more useful than those of an opera singer. The rest of the group decides to split up and spend some time apart, since they will have to be together for a year anyway. Suddenly, our students hear the sound of gunshots. Running to this noise, they see that the professor has removed those students who did not qualify for the bunker to spare them the agony of radiation exposure. Under the pretense of gathering useful supplies, the students escape to the bunker. The professor, realizing that the students have tricked him, runs into the bunker, but it is too late, and the students close the outer doors of the bunker right in front of him. Petra, a civil engineer, can't sleep at night, so she opens the inner door of the bunker. Petra sees a teacher lying at the outer door of the bunker with burns on his skin. The man shows the girl a note that says he is the only one who knows the code to open the bunker door. After that, all the students come to the door, but fearing it is a trap, they decide to live a year in the bunker, and only then find out if it is true or false. Thus begins their year of life in the bunker. Petra keeps coming to the door where they left Mr. Zimmett. Days pass, the students go about their daily business, but with each day that passes, they get closer and closer to the moment when they find out if they have made a mistake that will cost them their lives. A year later, the students try to get out of the bunker, but they realize that Mr. Zimmett told them the truth, because in order to get out of the bunker you have to enter the code of the door. The students try to break down the door, and use guns, crowbars, and even try to dig the door open, but it all proves futile. Soon the bunker runs out of food and the students had to eat the dead electrician. Later, some of the students shoot themselves, fearing an agonizing and starving death. Eventually, the bunker runs out of oxygen and the whole group dies. This is how the first experiment ends. While discussing the results of this experiment, Mr. Zimmett reveals the secret of his profession, and we learn that he was the creator of the bunker, and it was he who installed the code on the bunker door. The instructor suggests that the students correct their mistakes and conduct the experiment again. The action of the new experiment takes place near Mount Broma. However, now the task is more complicated, because the selection is based not only on the students' skills, but also on their personal qualities and data. This time the bunker is filled with a gay farmer, a civil engineer, an electrical engineer, a chemist with good genetics, a stockbroker with gold, a barren carpenter, a sales agent, an obstetrician, a senator, a lawyer, a soldier with a photographic memory, a landlord, and an ordinary laborer. The last seat in the bunker is once again reserved for Mr. Zimmett. The students who didn't get into the bunker get into their cars to try to get away from the explosions. However, a bomb falls near their car, sweeping away everything in its path. The 9 surviving students and the teacher rushed to the bunker for rescue. At night, Petra can't sleep again, and wandering around the bunker she sees James the farmer and Jack the chemist together. The students decide to pair up in order to conceive as soon as possible. Petra chooses Mr. Zimmett as her mate, because James cannot be with her because of his orientation. Some time passes, but neither girl gets pregnant. Mr. Zimmett suggests that the girls change partners to increase the chance of success. However, a girl named Bonnie is against such rule changes, which she immediately announces to the teacher. Mr. Zimmett leaves and soon returns with a gun. The man kicks all the students out of the room except Bonnie. The professor gives the girl a choice: either she accepts the new conditions or she will be erased from the experiment. Jack, who was hiding in the room when Mr. Zimmett came in with a gun, attacks the professor and takes the gun away. During the scuffle, Jack badly injures Mr. Zimmett. The man leaves the room and walks toward the bunker exit. The students follow the professor and see him standing next to the outer door and control panel. The man starts to enter the code, and Bonnie runs to him, but they are not in time to stop the professor. And the second experiment ends in failure. James asks Mr. Zimmett why he coughed after he and Petra pulled out their papers. The boy abruptly runs to the teacher's desk and grabs a box. James examines this box and discovers that the box has a triple bottom. In the box are several flyers with a gay farmer and a civil engineer, and at the very top are all the other flyers. James suspects that the teacher purposely decided to humiliate the guy by making him a gay farmer. However, Mr. Zimmett argues that James is wrong. The instructor compares the guy as a Plato's caveman who believes only in his fictional world and his illusions. James stays convinced that Mr. Zimmett had other purposes in choosing a profession and identity for James. James then proposes a third round of the experiment. All the students refuse except Petra, and Mr. Zimmett himself agrees to another experiment, but on the condition that James is now a florist. The terms of the experiment place the group on a deserted island. Mr. Zimmett, under the pretext of checking the bunker, hides the machine gun and takes a pistol with him. While the teacher was sitting by the shore, Petra comes up to him and asks him to allow her to conduct an experiment on her rules. This time the girl herself will choose those who will get into the bunker. Petra chooses those who last time it was decided to erase. Mr. Zimmett does not accept the students chosen by Petra and forces them away from the bunker. But seeing that they do not listen to him, the teacher reaches for his gun, but does not find the weapon. It turns out that Petra took the gun when Mr. Zimmett did not see it. The girl gives the teacher the gun and 2 bullets. James, who had earlier traced where the teacher hid the machine gun, now threatens Mr. Zimmett and forces him to leave. However, Mr. Zimmett says that the students will not open the bunker without a code known only to him. Suddenly, Bonnie voices the code of the bunker to everyone, as she was standing closest to the teacher when he opened the door last time, and she saw the combination of numbers. Having a photographic memory, the girl easily memorized the code. The last free place in the bunker remains, and Petra asks Bonnie to take it, but the girl refuses. Then Petra chooses Chips, the carpenter, but the guy outsmarts Petra and pushes the girl into the bunker, closing the doors from the outside. Chips takes the remaining students with him and takes them by boat to another island where they can survive. Petra, James, and the other students live in the bunker for a year. They spend their time playing poker, listening to poetry, and acting out theater pieces. Soon the year in the bunker comes to an end, and Petra opens the bunker doors. All students see that nuclear war has not reached this island. Our students continue to live perfectly well on the island, contrary to the teacher's assertion that without a carpenter, a midwife, a senator, and others, they cannot build civilization and will not survive. As they are about to die, a bomb appears on the island. James is ready to activate it, but Mr. Zimmett appears and stops him with a warning shot. It turns out that the man has been living in the rocks all this year, and has completely lost track of time until he hears the voices of the students. Zimmett intends to shoot James, but the students rise to their friend's defense. Eventually James presses the activation button on the bomb and the lesson ends. Chips talks about his experiment within an experiment. So, after sacrificing himself, the guy takes the group to another island. All the men in his group die by accident. Since Chips is young, he can't be infertile. The guy applies his skills as a carpenter and builds his own little paradise, where he now has a girl for every day of the week except Sunday, because on that day he will rest. Everyone laughs. The students hand in their textbooks and leave, but Petra remains in the classroom. The girl closes the office door and goes out onto the balcony. Petra is dissatisfied with Mr. Zimmett, whom she calls by his first name, Eric. The girl knows that the professor made James a gay farmer on purpose, out of jealousy, to humiliate him and point out where he belongs. Petra says that it was pointless, since James doesn't know about Eric and Petra's connection. The girl announces that she is leaving with James to go to another city. Eric asks the girl to stay and be with him, but Petra does not agree. Having kissed Eric goodbye, the girl leaves. The end of the story remains open, as we see two developments. In one, Eric continues to go to work and teach, and in the second, we see the man looking at the gun. This is the end of the movie. Thank you all for watching this video to the end. Give this video a like. Write in the comments what you think about this movie, and see you in new videos.